Alright, Chapter 11, Materials and Effects. Autodesk AutoCAD 2013 Practical 3D Drafting and Design. I have no clue what that was. Chapter 11, Materials and Effects. After seeing rendering and illumination in the last chapter of the chapter, we're able to complete with the rendering subject of the material and effects. Important with the lighting of 3D this application, realistic material resembling materials in a real world. AutoCAD will allow you to specify the scenes, backgrounds, applying fog effect. The topic we covered with the chapter, rendering understanding of materials, to how to apply materials, how to open material library, how to create materials with different templates, how to create texture, how to control mapping, coordinates, applying backgrounds and fogs. Introduction, Materials and Textures and Effects. Since version 2011, the introduction Autodesk the inclusion of the more than 700 excellent looking and ready to apply materials, photorealistic images that can be obtained. These materials can be adjusted. We can also create the countless materials in generic and template based. Materials can be defined several parameters of the, including textures, map, textures, and photos, images. Also serve procedural maps simulating tiles, chosen chess patterns, wood, fabric, marble. Others, when using textured materials, mapping, coordinates. The way textures are painted on faces include texture, origin, scale, rotation can be adjusted. Until applying materials, a special material called the global, with color defined by the object, is applied with all objects. The material cannot be deleted or renamed. Material can be applied with the object and face of the objects by the layer, the last being with a preferably way. As effects of the AutoCAD include background and fog depth Q. Material and textures. Corrected material and respective texture for the essential for the good rendering of the AutoCAD with the provide several command with the selecting creating with applying materials. Autodesk Material Library starting with the version 2011 installing with the AutoCAD Autodesk Material Library was also installed with the Material Library shared with the Autodesk software and 3Ds, Max and Revit. Cannot be modified, but also these materials are to be loaded into the current drawing will be changed with the save in the user library. Autodesk Material Library contains more than 1,000 textures as defined in the folder, similar with the C program. It's x86 common files. Autodesk shared materials depending on the Windows version and language. Under this folder, textures and images and photos are more available in three groups. Asset Library Base FRBM Textures 1, Materials 1000, image with a 25.6 by 25.6 resolution. Assets Library Base FBM Textures 2 Mass more than 1,000 image version 2001 2012 all versions 512 almost through texture 3 mats also 1,000 image 1020 by 1020 resolution. These textures are excellent quality and can be used in great new materials. This is the Autodesk library. Managing materials in library. The main command of the material, the browser open in which for the can load the materials, assign selection, access material ending command. Material browser open command opens the alias MAT display with the palette material the browser of the command with the file with the rendering tool, then ribbon with the render tab with the view render menu bar. Palette includes the following areas: buttons display with the next screenshot, search areas to allow the searching material, then open all libraries upon the writing. Unavailable, the materials are all filtered. Document materials, all of the area to display the loaded materials into the current drawing by selecting material, right-clicking, shortcut menu. Some of the other options are available. Document materials, all the area to display the loaded material in the current drawing by selecting material, right-clicking, shortcut menu. Some of the options are available. Assign to selection, assign the material to selected objects, select objects to be applied, select all objects to own this material. Edit, duplicate, rename, delete. This allows them respectively edit, make, copy, rename, delete the material. Add to this material with a favorite library and order current tool palette, purge on all unused, removes unused material from drawing. Document bar, this includes some filters options. Document material, this contains filters for displaying load materials, namely showing all only applied materials, showing materials of selected objects, showing loaded by unused material, then option purging all unused materials. View type, the control of the whole View type controls hold loaded materials are displayed. Sort of the controls order to display the material thumbnails. Set of the control of the size of the pixel of the material thumbnails. Library. This area includes the left-hand side of all the library respective categories. Besides our use of the library, Autodesk library favorites are always available on the right-hand side. All materials are selected category library are displayed. Library bar. This list includes some filter options. The display of the selected library, hide library tree, left-hand arrow, thus maximizing material view type, control hold materials displayed, sort of the controls order displaying material, thumbnail size, control size of the pixel material thumbnails, manage. This button displays the option related to the libraries. Open existing library, open a user library displaying a file dialog box, ADSKI library file. Create a new library. This creates a user library displaying a file dialog box, specification name for ADSK library file. Move library. This removes the user library. Create category. Creates category user favorite library. Delete category. This erases categories of the same library. Rename the user libraries and categories. Creating material. This button displays the list of the available templates created: ceramic, concrete, wall paint, wood. Generic template allows creating any material, but the material creation is presented later. Material editors. The button access the material editing. Use the material edit open command and select the material for the global material. If none, the command is presented later. Manage create material. Manage editors. Load a material current drawing. Double click with the name of the preview of the material. Drag it library with the document material area. Before loading a material with the wise to check with the units command alias UN. Insertion scale unit according to the model or texture size or near the what should be needed immediately visible running on them with a realistic visual style. When passing over the material with the library, two small icons are displayed. The left one loads the material, the right one beside loading it also allows it to open the materials editor, but careful, icons apply to the material directly to selected objects. Assigning materials, material attach. Commands allows you to assign commands by layer, thus being the more flexible way to assign materials, even to the objects not created. Also must apply with the material assign command. Beside the two commands, there are some of the major assignment material view object faces. Dragging the material over to the object, we can drag the material from the document materials area and library area to objects. Selecting objects, applying with assign the selection option. We first select the object, then apply with the option, the right clicking on this menu. Selecting objects, applying properties palettes. We select the object, choose one of the loaded material of the properties palette and available for the 3D visualization material. Selecting sub-objects, applying assigning to selection option. We first select sub-object for the control key and then apply the option to the right clicking on the menu. Materials applied directly without being a layer. Take preference over the layer material. Also happens with the color and line type of the control by layer and select these objects. Choose by layer with the properties palette. With applying the new material to an object, the old one is removed. Remove the material without applying a new one. It's enough to apply any global material. Material attach command. Material attach command allows you to apply materials by layer. Display the dialog box. Drag material to the left hand area with the layer names of the right hand area. Big red cross allowing removing materials from the layer. And then it shows the material attachment box options. Material assigning command. Material no alias assign the material to define the C material variable. Selected object command just prompts over the object selection. This is for the material with the properties palette without any selected object. We are defining default material with the new object whose interest is in minimal. Alright, exercise 11.1, mechanically assemble the drawings. You the documentation chapter. We are going to pick some of the materials, assign them by layer. Opening drawing 3A, 3D 1101, which includes the bearing and the lighting is already set with the photometric sunlight and skylight. But first verify the model unit is correct. Rely the unit command and we confirm all the units is in millimeter. Material browse command as matte, alias matte. Pick required materials, metal category, Autodesk. Double click on the materials such as steel cast machine. And semi-published and table selected with the understone category green polish. Material latch command with the seal cast with the bottom prompt seal to a part semi-polished screw machine O2 note with the then green polish to the table. Each material is drag over the layer name rendering drawing render command. CL applied materials include one applied to the table. Save drawing with the name A3D 1101 final drawing. Alright, creating, editing materials, material browser, opening, command. We can create materials for available templates after specifying template material that immediately opens the material editor palette. That is and runs the material editor open command. Material editor open command. Material edit open command. No alias allows you to create, edit materials and display the palettes of 2 tabs of the material selected for the loaded materials or new from a new material. This information tab displays the information about the material, name, type, and texture paths will modify the name of the description and keywords. On the appearance tab, beside the parameter depending on the material template and on the presented next, there are some of the common area of the buttons. For material preview listing, the areas can be resized, increasing, decreasing preview size. List allows the selecting preview object about 12 options, rendering quality and among 4 options. We should have given the specific useful name of the material. Create the button display the list of available templates. Create the material similar to the button. Use the previous command. Open and close material browser. The button just allows you to open and close the material browser palette. Alright, and it shows the material editor, shows the appearance information, generic material template is most common template allowing you for creation of any type of the material. Material template has 4 following parameters. Parameters specify material, the base color, and the diffuse the image texture image. When choosing editing texture, the new palette is displayed with the presented next to the texture can be a photo, an image. Texture could be a photo, an image, or a procedural texture calculated by Autocad as a rendering time, image fade, mixture, and mixed textures, base color, glossiness, color control, quality, reflective, similar, highlight, growth, low shear, luster material, highlight, specify the type of the specular heights. Lights but non-metallic highlight reflects light color, non-metallic maintains material color. Reflectivity, control of the direct with oblique level of reflection. Transparent with the control of the highway. Transport material is an amount with the defined with the level of the transparent 0 component. Peak 100, complete transparent. Translucent specified with the translucent material with in some light passes through the some light with the scattered, thus reducing visibility. Refraction specified with the material. The IOR index refraction property for the non-opaque material of the list includes most common index of a refraction such as glass 1.5, water 1.3. Show opacity maps is better to apply cutout parameters instead of the image fade. Cutouts, we specify the map and create the opacity map of the cutout. This is the material with a different area of the transparency. Selecting a map to image of the material texture. Black areas of the map are completely transparent, while white areas are completely opaque. Self-Illusionation, the control of the self-illumination simulating lamp turned on neon. While this parameter of the material does not cast light and neither receive any shadow, filter color with the simulate the filter applied with lighting color. Luminance simulate with the photometric intensity, some of the predefined values, color temperature, adjust the self-illumination color. Alright, the bump, this control of the effect of the non-smooth material simulating layers, space between the materials and bricks, which apply with the map of the image of the texture, stimulate the bump and adjust the value with the amount of the option, higher with the value of the beam with the more regular material. Lighter colors simulate with a high relief, the darker colors stimulate low relief tint, the specified with the color and to the tint of the material. Note, the small amount of self-illumination can be applied to bright material if the looks to darken when running. Alright, ceramic material template allows you to create materials simulating ceramic, porcelain tiles, concrete material, glazing material, masonry material, metal material, metallic paint, mirror metal, plastic metal, mirror metal, the mirror material, plastic material, solid glass material, stone material, wall paint material, water material, wood material. No, the keep adjusting materials and trying, we may start from the material already included, proceeded to some changes. Whenever we change the material, it's wise to give it a proper name so as not to confuse it with the original. This trying materials with complex models, it's better to fine-tune them with a sample object or similar size. Images and other texture maps. Most material templates use the image of the texture. Also know the maps to compose the main aspect of the cutouts, relief of the bump, the other parameters. Besides applying the image, we can apply with the procedural map, stimulate with the tiles and wood, irregularities, other effect. Procedural maps also have the advantage in tiling, perfectly adjust the effect for the placement several times the side by side with the look of the continuous without mosaic effect. Any material parameter light except the image texture material map display of the connecting all texture types which are displayed with the next screenshot after picking on Autocad display with the texture editor palette related to parameters. Alright, note, the procedural texture is similar to the same texture of 3D Max Revit and Showcase for the Autodesk software. And we get to image. The image map at the most usually often allow for specifying a photo image of the representative of the wanted texture of the material of the AutoCAD except for the image formats such as JPEG and PNG, TFI, bitmap, EXH, HDR, DIB, PXF, GIF, TGA, RLE. After selecting the image, the text and selecting an image of the text editor palette is displayed with two panels. This palette is also displayed with the editing and an image source. The image source will select the image brightness colors, how bright the image is, invert image colors, transform link and transforms. Check all transformation made when the panels are applied with the other images used in this material. Offset and the position option control of the image origin related to the faces, and rotation control rotation scale controls real world dimension width and height for the image. Original value size depends on the current unit selected with the units command, and repeat control of the image with the repeated to fulfill faces if it is tile or not. So the small chain symbol allows you to lock both. The small chain symbol allows locking both values. And it shows that you've picked an image and the texture editor, and you transformed it in position, scale, and repeat horizontal and vertical tiles. No image can be dragged with the window explorer to the texture slot on the material editor palette. Alright, texture tester simulates a pattern composed of the alternate square, the rectangle, the two panels are available. Appearance of the option of the color 1, color 2 softening, with the option of the blur transition instead of the colors we apply with the other texture. Transfer line texture, transform checked, all transformations made with this panel apply with the other image view of the material, the offset of the position option, control of the image origin related to the face of the rotation with control of the rotation, scale controls real world dimension width and height with the image, repeat with the control of the image of the repeated to fulfill the face, hat, and towers or not. Gradient textures, and then marble. And then noise. Noise textures created with irregular patterns off the transition, also 3D textures used that simulate relief bump and that main structure of the regular materials such as rock and grass include 3 panels. Speckle, waves, wood, tiles. Best way to analyze texture and parameters is by changing parameters of the preview image. Sometimes it can be tricky, so we apply with the material the render crop command, allow alias RC to render only part of the scene. And then it goes into the exercise. Mapping coordinates. After selecting the modifying with the materials applied with the object, sometimes you need to change something on the object with the mapping coordinate of the representative of the new way of the materials are painted on the face of the surface. The distinguish with the mapping coordinate of the model coordinate of the letters U, V, and W. U and V being face coordinates, W with the normal to the face with the next command, control of the mapping coordinates, material map with command. Material map command allows you to modify with the mapping coordinates, select the object, select the face with the mapping coordinates can be adjusted to the geometric face of the planar box, elliptical, cylindrical, then moved and rotated by applying command with the then render. Toolbar on a ribbon, we can specify the geometrical direction. So material map, and then you have planar, box, cylindrical, and cylindrical. First command prompt, geometric mode, material map, select option. Box, planar, cylindrical, copied mapping to reset option. This must be selected. Then we must select the object command to accept the solid surface mesh for the region. 2D object thickness. We can also select the object face by pressing Control. Select face for the object's selection. We accept the mapping. Apply any option. The proper repeats until acceptance. Set up the mapping, move the rotate, reset, switching mapping mode. Enter the option of the command box, planar, cylindrical, cylindrical. We specify the most suitable geometry of the object. Copy the map. This allows you to copy the map coordinates for any of the object path for the objects to be selected. The reset mapping option, restore the original mapping coordinates. Move the option to display the 3D move gizmo grips allows you to move the material on the object, specifying the 2 points. Rotate the option to display the 3D rotate gizmo allows you to rotate the material on the object, specify the rotation axis of the point to indicate the rotation axis. And this with the material map. Reset the option, restore the original mapping coordinates, switch mapping mode. Display with the initial prompt allows you to select the different geometry. Note that the command does not allow you specific direct values for moving and rotating coordinates, which serve the limitation, which is a severe limitation. Sometimes Autocad is not able to display correct mapping coordinates. In these situations, apply the command should be correct the problem. And then it should apply the hard effects. Autocad considers as an effect only seen background fog and depth hue. Tell you the truth, it's not that important to me. Rendering an environment. This chapter includes all commands, concepts related to material with the environment. We start with the introduction material and the texture file, and only of the explanation Autodesk material in the library with include the material over the 700 materials ready to assign, where to find more than 1,000 textures available to create your own materials. Material browser open, command display with the palette that allows the loading of the managing scene. Materials allow also assignment of these objects revised wave. The assignment of the materials by layer by achieving which for the material attached. For material browser open, we can create materials based on several material templates of the generic, ceramic, concrete, and others. To define or modify materials, we have the material edit opener command also available for the previous palette. Double clicking on the material slot. Several of the material parameters we can apply with the image procedural texture map, check tiles, and noise. To edit images and textures such as the defining scales, use the text editor palette. Sometimes material textures are not well placed on faces, so we need to adjust mapping coordinates of material map command. Two effects effective of the background that can be defined with the view command and the background command, and the fog depth that is defined within the rendering environment command. Next chapter will present 3D mesh and surfaces. Alright, chapter 12, meshes and surfaces.